If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
It is 8 minutes after the hour. Coach's Corner with Coach Matt Griffith, brought to you by Collier Motors in Sylacauga. Coach, it seems like forever since we played a football game.
It has, but you know what? We did that on purpose. I mean, we really wanted to. Now, you know, we kept Game 10 open at first, not on purpose, because we were waiting on a couple of schools that ended up dropping us, not playing us, and then it just kind of, when Game 10 fell open, we were all kind of saying, well, that's really good. It'll give us 2 weeks to prepare. We'll make the playoffs. It gives you, a good 8 practices to get ready for a first-round team, and we're going to see if that makes a difference. I mean, we've gone this route a long time, and I think this is either 7 straight, I think it's 9 or 10 years of making the playoffs over a 13, 14-year thing. So we're going to see if this helps get our kids even better prepared for that first round.
And it's expected that Sylacauga make the playoffs.
Yeah, and we do. Yeah. I mean, and I'm glad we do expect it. We want our kids to expect it, and it would be a huge disappointment to our staff and our kids and our school if we don't make it. Now, those things do happen. I mean, we went down to the wire this year, but that is it's not just a goal. It is an expectation every year to get in the playoffs. It's an expectation to get out of the first round. You know, it's been difficult for us as a football team to do that over these course of years, but it is an expectation.
And year to year is different. This is a different football team than you had in 17, and different team in 17 you had in 16. But it all comes down to, hey, we're in the playoffs. A lot of teams aren't. They're at home.
That's right. I mean, and Steve Savarese, who's the executive director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, made a great point Saturday. You know, every single coach has to go to Montgomery when you make the playoffs, and they meet 1 through 3A, then they meet 4A through 7A. And he says, never take for granted that you're here. Never take for granted if you get here, it's been a good year. You got to remember, in 5A, there were only 32 schools in 5A there, and 32 schools were sitting at home. So you want to be one of those that's not sitting at home. And it goes very quickly from 32 to what I call the Sweet 16. Then it goes Elite 8. I know those are basketball terms, but people understand those terms a little bit better. It goes very quickly. When you're in the second round, you're Sweet 16. When you go quarterfinals, you're in the Elite 8. So it very quickly cuts in half as you keep winning.
Well, you knew that Walker County or Jasper, the opponent, and you've had plenty of time to look at tape and look at film, and this extra time has got to be a plus, even for the nicks and bruises that you've accumulated over the year. Yeah,
there's no doubt. Mumford was a physical game that went down to the wire to win it. We were a little banged up. It allowed us to get healthy. I tell you though, but it allowed us to go back and do some things that we said we wanted to do, but you don't have time to do. And we spent the first week, even though we're repping against Jasper's offense and defense, it was more about fixing ourselves, fixing the fundamentals, fixing what we wanted to do. And then this week, you just really honed in on Jasper. Kids, we've had 2 really good weeks of practice, but there's something about making the playoffs, and there's something about that time change. And then about 4:30, you cut the lights on, and kids are practicing under the lights. That puts a little giddy up in the stand. They enjoy that. And I tell you what we did also during our team periods, we were blasting music so loud so that kids can't hear, to try to simulate a band in the stands and the noise level. For some reason, the kids just loved that, just that something game atmosphere. And we're going to do that again. So at about 2 o'clock, if you hear music blasting out of the stadium, that is us. We got all our coaches on the sidelines trying to get our kids ready for that playoff atmosphere, that loud, I can't hear the coaches, I've got to still run these plays. And that's what we have worked on it all week to get them ready for that.
You mentioned Coach Savarese and the teams that were at the meeting last Saturday. All teams have been successful. There's a lot of teams that would love to be 7-3.
Sure.
There's a lot of teams that would like to say, hey, my team has been in the playoffs 8, 9, 10 years. You've been here 14 years or so now, and 9 out of 10 times you're in the playoffs.
That's right.
The thing is, you're not satisfied with just the playoffs, just the first round. you want more.
Well, I do, and here's the thing, and everybody wants more, and sometimes it doesn't happen. But I will say this: if we ever got to the point that 7 was enough, or 8 was enough, or we're not striving to win a region championship and host playoff games, if we're not talking to our kids about getting out of the first round and then it's anybody's game and talking about maybe running at a state championship, if you don't have those goals, why are we playing? I mean, and only one team in 5A can win it all. There are 63 other teams that's going to be disappointed. When Tom Calvin, and people don't know that when Coach Calvin was on the original committee that started the playoff system, and he made the statement in the committee, he says, I believe we need to go this route, but you do know this will cause every single team but one will go home disappointed. And there's a lot of truth to that. In the older days when the newspapers used to vote on it and stuff, you finished up 8-2, 9-1, then you know what? You finished on a positive note. Everybody was positive. You went in and it was up to a paper. Now, 63 schools go home disappointed. So you got to put those things there, but you also have to brag on a team that has done extremely well, even though you may go home disappointed, whether it be first round, second round, third round, fourth round, that you still had a good year and there's nothing to be about. If you do everything you're supposed to do and play as hard as you can, that's all you can ask a kid to do.
Coach Matt Griffith, the head football coach and athletic director at Sylacauga High School. The Aggies preparing for Jasper tomorrow night, kick at 7 o'clock in Walker County. We'll be back to look at tomorrow night's game right after this.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Things feeling a little uneven at home? Ox Foundation Solutions will fix your uneven concrete sidewalk, driveway, or basement in no time. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
We believe everybody should have a great night's sleep. That's why you have to check out our Scott Living mattress collection today. Quality, comfort, and a lot of ease. Dream big.
Introducing Scott Living Mattresses. For a limited time, save up to $1,000 on any Scott Living mattress set, plus 24-month special financing. When you buy a Scott Living mattress set, now is the best time to save up to $1,000 on a Scott Living mattress set.
Come in today to check out these and many more great deals. King's Mattress Outlet, Sylacauga.
Norman Collier and the staff at Collier Motors presents the Coach Matt Griffith at Coach's Corner here on Thursday morning. On the road tomorrow night, talk about the difficulties of not just preparing for a first-round playoff team, but you're doing it on the road in hostile environment.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a long drive. I mean, it kind of takes you out of routine. We're going to eat, usually we eat at 3, we're going to eat at 2, we're going to leave at 3. Now, it's about an hour and 45 minute drive. We're giving ourselves 2 hours to get there because of Birmingham traffic, so we should be there in plenty of time. But it's all about logistics of going, that Walker is we went up there and watched them play Friday night because we were off and they were playing Dessler. And the two school systems remind you of each other. Mm-hmm. They have wonderful fans. The fans knew immediately where we were from, and we sat up there and talked to their fans, and they treated us with class the entire time, told us to be careful. That the place is very, very similar. They're a little bit bigger than we are. They've been a 6A school now for about 4 years. They're bumping back. They bumped down to 5A, and you can tell they went from winning about 3 or 4 games to a 9-1 team, and it makes a difference. So, you're just going up there and playing somebody on their home field. They're used to playing good football. It's a good community, and, it's two good communities facing each other. Mm-hmm. And I always look at it that way. I mean, the biggest thing about making playoffs and going up and playing Walker, one, you want to win, but two, you want to represent your community so that when you leave, whether you won or lost, that Jasper has a fantastic impression of Sylacauga football, the community of Sylacauga, and Sylacauga High School.
And we have viewers in the Jasper, Walker County area that watch Daybreak every morning, and all of us know that is a hotbed of football there.
Oh, yeah, they love their football. And Brian was at Eufaula last year, and Brian went up there. They bumped down to 5A. he's done a phenomenal job of getting their football team back. He's got them playing very well. Brian is probably one of the better young coaches out there. He was an offense coordinator at Opelika. So they've got a good one. I think they're happy that they've got him, according to when you sit up there with their fans. And you know, we're looking forward to it. We know it's a well-coached football team. It's a good football team. We think we're a well-coached, good football team, and you want to play good quality opponents from good quality towns. That's what this is.
Strong second half for Sylacauga against Munford 2 weeks ago. How do you capsule that and get that momentum continuing tomorrow night?
Well, I think personnel-wise, that we made some changes, and we kind of saw this is our personnel is what we need to be. We made another one at some of our offensive line again, and I think we've really found and we've honed in on how we're going to do it and what we're going to do it. And I think that was critical. I think of course the Malik Pope kid coming in, the freshman, gave us a spark, and I think it sparked Dalen. I think he realized I can run the option and pitch the ball, and then this kid can do something with it when I pitch it. And don't ever think quarterbacks don't think that way. You know, I'm not going to pitch it if you can't do anything with it. And so I think that helped us. And, you know, like I said, we've had a good week of practice. We've honed in. We've looked sharp a lot of times. So, but, you know, everything looks sharp against scout team. I mean, when you're playing, we're going into a loud environment. We're going into a very well-coached team. And our kids have to respond when those lights come on.
And it's one or done. I mean, you gotta win that one Friday night to get to the second round. And this senior group, they understand that.
I'm sure.
And this year, you at times have been looking to that leadership to step up and take ownership of this football team.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't know if that stepped up and took ownership more than these last 2 weeks. Kids that are playing for you on the field at all times, your starters, your guys that are making plays, whether they be a junior or a senior, really kind of stepped it up this week. When you don't have a bad practice for 8 days, you're getting quiet leadership from your kids. I mean, that they have insisted that we're going to do it right. And they've run to the football defense. If they didn't run, you heard kids getting on kids that didn't run. You know, their coaches weren't having to get on a whole lot this week. So wherever that leadership came from, it's been a quiet leadership of we're going to do things the right way. Now, the staff has been very, very pleased to finally see that kind of emerge here.
Little things that can really affect a football game one way or another, and oftentimes they do, whether it's a muff snap or whether it's a penalty in a bad time. You got third and short and you're offside, your legal procedure is 3rd and 8. How do you continually work those things and continue to teach those kids this is the right way to do it, but you've got to do it yourself?
Well, a lot of that, I hate to say it, it's an old school approach, but you can learn a lot from pain. I mean, and that's, I know, I mean, there's punishment. There has to be consequences for actions. When a kid keeps jumping off sides or a kid keeps doing this, you know, we played them. I mean, you've got a 45-pound plate, you got to walk a stadium. You know, we do the same thing when you don't hustle. Now, you can miss an assignment. That happens. But if you're not hustling, you're not getting to the ball, or you just watch the play instead of blocking somebody, that's a plate. You see us do them every Monday and Tuesday when kids are walking stadium with a plate, to the point that they get the message that I've got to be a disciplined football player. And look, sometimes it works quicker than others, you know. So, and look, that never goes away. We're out there and we're having great practices. You saw 4 guys pushing a wedge 100 yards the other day, you know, for not doing things they're supposed to do in class, or they're not going to class on time. Those are things that you can never let slip because you let the little things go. And listen, we're going to continue that. We're going to hold our football team and all our athletics to a higher standard. It's an old standard, but that standard was set a long time ago by a lot of great men, and we're not going to change that.
So it's not tiptoeing through the tulips.
No, it's not.
A couple of keys that you've seen on tape, and we'll finish up here with this. A couple of keys that you see on tape that you feel like that Sylacauga can be successful at some point tomorrow night.
Well, you know, the biggest thing is this: is we sometimes see them kind of, I don't know if it's a misalignment or how they're playing their defense. versus some of the stuff that we do. Now, can we take advantage of that? That's the big thing. We really want to move and shake and do a lot of shifting and get them where we want them to run the plays we want, and just by doing formations, try to get the look that we want. If it is a just line up and run at them type of game, I think we will struggle if we can't get them out of certain things. They're very good. Their 3 defensive front guys are very good.
They compare with any other team you play this year?
They compare probably with a Mortimer Jordan. They may not be quite as physical on the offensive line as Mortimer Jordan was. Quarterback may be better. I think he throws a better ball than the kid from Mortimer Jordan. Quarterback's the guy you got to stop. He is an extremely, extremely good football player.
All right, let's get the win tomorrow night at Walker County in Jasper, Alabama, Sylacauga, first round of the 5A playoffs. Coach, let's do it again next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, more day break right after this.